What's up YouTube, and welcome to this video in which I'll be talking about Manchester City and the kind of transfers they need to win the title back. Now last season they slumped to a second place finish, 8 points behind leaders Chelsea, and for a club that spends as much money as City, that's not really good enough. For me, I think a major overhaul of the squad is needed. I believe the squad they've assembled isn't really a championship winning squad anymore. They've got too many good to average players in their midst, and I think if they want to recapture the crown off Chelsea, they're going to need to bring in a few more players, while letting some others go. We'll start with the transfers out, and I think there are plenty of players to look at. For a start, I think one of their fullbacks needs to go. They currently have 4 fullbacks with Bacary Sagna, Alexander Kolarov, Gael Clichy and Pablo Zabaleta. Personally, I would choose to get rid of 1 if not 2 of these players and bring in some better, younger fullbacks. Obviously, Zabaleta stays. He's been one of their best players over the last few seasons and has become a real reliable player for the club. Sagna joined the club last summer but has failed to nail down a first team spot. Unfortunately for him, he has Zabaleta ahead of him in the pecking order and he was never really looking like shifting him. While on the left flank you have the choice of Clichy or Kolarov. Personally, I've always been a big fan of Kolarov. I think he had some directness to City's play and he has that aggressive streak you want in a defender. I've yet to be convinced by Clichy in his City shirt, and if I had to choose, he would be the one I'd let go. However, I can't see Kolarov leaving. He's been at the club for a while now and could fancy another adventure abroad. Somewhere like Italy maybe. In the centre-back spots, City have a few good options. They've got club captain Vincent Kompany, £30 million man Ilkay Mangala, and the experienced Martin Demichelis. I do think Demichelis and Mangala are good players, so I would be inclined to keep them for now. While Kompany remains a crucial player for the club and makes up the backbone of the team. I think their goalkeeper is well covered. They've got Joe Hart and Woody Caballero, so I doubt to see any signings in this area. And now we come onto the midfield, where City have a wealth of options, but not all of them are great ones. Having been to the Etihad a few times last season, you get to really experience what City play like. At times they play fast attacking football and it works well for them, but other times they're slow, lethargic, and it just gives the opposition so much time to reorganise. Fernando and Fernandinho both play similar roles, and I don't see why the club bought both of them. I'd choose to get rid of one of them, and I would choose Fernando over Fernandinho. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Yaya Toure leaving the club as well. A few years ago, that was unthinkable. He was City's best player. His rampaging runs through the middle of the field helped break down teams for City, but in the last 2 seasons, he just hasn't done that as much as he used to. Maybe it's because of his age and his body's finally caught up with him, but personally, I don't see him recovering. I think now is the right time for City to sell him, with many Italian clubs rumoured to be interested in signing him. James Milner has already left the club, while Scott Sinclair returns from loan from Aston Villa. It doesn't take much foresight to see that Sinclair will probably leave as soon as he arrives back. He never really broke into the City squad and he was much better elsewhere. David Silva remains a must-keep and is one of 2 best players at the club. Sami Nasri continues to play a role and I think he'll stay at the club for now. Finally, we have the strikers. Now City are just overloaded at the moment with strikers. They've of course got the world-class Sergio Aguero, who they need to keep if they want to win the title. But with Alvaro Negredo returning, they've now got 3 similar kind of strikers. Wilfred Boney was acquired last January and he joins Edin Dzeko and Negredo as tall front players. Stefan Jovetic is another striker there, but he's struggled to make a real impact since joining the club. And him being left out of the Champions League squad for the latter part of last year is surely a sign that he's on his way this summer. I think City has to get rid of 2 or 3 of these strikers. Personally, I would let go of Negredo, Jovetic, but would be inclined to keep Edin Dzeko. There's always rumour he's not happy with his playing time, but I do think he has a role at the club. He does have a good partnership with Aguero, and you wonder, if he plays well enough, will he be ahead of Boney in the pecking order? So that's the players I think should be leaving the club. But what about players joining the club? If I was in Manuel Pellegrini's Argentine shoes, I would definitely want to bring in a new strong midfielder. They've been heavily linked with Paul Pogba, along with numerous other European clubs. And with a 60 million price tag being floated, is he really worth it at this stage? Pogba would be a player to replace Yaya Toure, but I don't see him come to the Etihad. I would want a defensive midfielder who's more creative than Fernandinho and Fernando. Morgan Schneiderlin of Southampton is one of the hot properties this summer and he could work well in the City shirt, but my pick would be Bastian Schweinsteiger. It is a long shot as Schweinsteiger's been at Bayern for years, but there is rumours that he's unhappy. Xabi Alonso was brought in and it is thought Pep Guardiola prefers Alonso over Schweinsteiger. The German has been linked to Manchester, but it's the red of Manchester. United have been sniffing around him, but I don't see why City shouldn't make an attempt as well. He's a world-class player and he could really perform well for City. I think the club also need a good centre-back. Vincent Kompany is good, but last season he was wavering a bit, and then when he needed someone to rely on during this poor form, Demichelis and Mangala looked iffy. Sergio Ramos is being linked with everyone at the moment, but I didn't see him coming to City or in fact leaving Madrid. Mats Hummels is also another player linked to be leaving his club this summer. He would be a great signing for City, and if I was the City directors, he would be my first choice. I also really think City need another good winger. There's no secret they've shown their interest in Raheem Sterling. City seem unwilling to meet Liverpool's 50 million price tag, so why not focus their thoughts elsewhere? Marco Reus is looking more and more available and he would be a great signing for the City. His kind of pace would work well with Jesus Navas, and you'd imagine he'd have a great link up with Aguero and Silva. But with James Milner gone, they've sort of lost that industrial strength of their midfield, which is why I would recommend Arda Turan. He's a better player than Milner, but he does share some of the qualities. He's tough and he'll work on his defence as well as his attack, but it remains to be seen if he'll leave the red and white club of Madrid. So that's my shopping list for now. I think if they get these players in and get those players out, they've got a real good chance of overtaking Chelsea to the crown. So where do you think City will finish this season? Do you think another championship's in their sights? Or do you think the disaster will happen and they'll finish outside the top 4? Leave a comment below and tell me what you think. But for now, make sure to subscribe for more football chat and I'll see you later.